So am I on screen here? Is Exhibit 3 on screen? Yep, good enough. COVID has transitioned from a really big problem in one region, New York City, to a pretty big problem in most regions. Okay. So I'm interested in your reaction to these four, I'll call them graphs, just these four pictures. What do you see in these four pictures?
Well, looking at the first graph, this is what we saw with the early outbreak in New York City. New York has a lot of cases, but the rest of the United States only has a few scattered areas. But then as you move down the graphs, you can see the number of cases starts to grow in the other areas, but as you reach this final map, then New York City is only slightly tinted red, so it doesn't have a lot of cases anymore. A lot of new cases.
All right. What do you see?
So yeah, it's kind of, we see the early outbreak where it's just New York, and then kind of when all the restrictions went into place, it's the New England area, more or less. And then you see it kind of spreads out over the entire United States and then sort of concentrates down south here. But you see New York kind of burns out around June, and then you basically don't have anything in New England as of today. It's much less than it was like a month ago. But you see a lot more in the southern states, and especially, weirdly enough, in Arizona. But you see, like, over here there's a lot. Yeah, but you don't, like, up here there's almost nothing.
Can you find a state that also had, based on these charts, what looks like it was a pretty significant outbreak that has reduced now? So besides the New England area?
Let's see. Well, maybe in this May map. Is it Illinois here?
Yeah.
Had an outbreak. You can see in the June 1st map, it's still significantly red. But by here, it's barely red.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of new cases.
It's kind of like this whole Midwest area here. You can see isn't bad, gets worse, and then gets better.
Okay.
And like the Virginia, Delaware area.
Okay, so there have been some other places that had milder outbreaks, or I shouldn't say milder, but at least didn't get the publicity that the New York
area. It looks like just very roughly like this area, or right here, like has been getting about half the daily cases that New York did at its peak, and then like Arizona's getting about 2/3 right now. Yeah, so it's really, it's actually getting scary in Arizona. I think I saw some articles about that. They're starting to worry about their hospital capacity in Arizona.
It's also interesting how, like, the red, actually doesn't mean the same thing for all of these four graphs. It's capped at 156.
Oh, yeah, that's a very good thing to notice.
Here it's up at 388. So that's more than double.
Yeah, very good observation. Nearly 400 at the top there. What is that? As far as 300, Colin?
Yep.
Yeah,
150 at the top, and then 200. Yeah, very good observation. That we're looking at different color schemes.
Yeah,
I'm glad you noticed that.
It looks like the South isn't as bad as it was in New York, but it certainly is getting worse and continues to get worse, at least by this trend.
Okay, very good. So the next thing we're going to do is go to the Financial Times, or the FT's website that tracks all the data, and we're going to see some graphs that we want to play around with.